Hey everybody, I'm Jeremy Deibler, and welcome to Merridee's. For the past 10 years, Jennifer and me have spent almost every day at this little bakery, getting to meet some really interesting people, having coffee and donuts, and talking about God and life and all kinds of stuff in between. 2 years ago, I began blogging from Merridee's, and this year I decided to turn that blog into a video show so you could get to meet some of those interesting people, and so that I could stop talking about myself for a while. So enjoy. This is Merridee's Monday. Hey everybody, I'm with one of my really good friends, Mark Shultz, and I'm so psyched that he's here. We met each other probably 10 years ago,
Probably.
on the road.
Yeah.
Same booking agent.
Yeah.
I remember the first concert Mark played. We played together at a hockey arena, and he played first and we played second, and he did 2 encores and went 40 minutes over his allotted time. And we were great friends after that, and we started meeting together every Wednesday for breakfast, and I haven't seen him since he's been back from Italy, actually living in Spain now, right?
That is correct, sir.
Okay, so how's Kate?
She's good.
Is she delivering babies over there?
No.
Okay.
She did 8 years worth of medical school with residency.
Right.
And we moved to North Carolina, and she said 4 years ago, and she said after our first week, she was like, hey, it's going to be great. We'll get to hang out in North Carolina. It'll be great. And then she started working 100 hours a week delivering babies.
100 hours a week?
Yeah. And so after that first week, she came back and said, hey, why don't you go get busy doing something and then come back in 4 years and see me, because you're not going to see me during those 4 years. So that was true. So I went on tour, and then
And this is when you rode your bike across the country?
yeah, I rode my bike across the country for the James Fund to raise money for widows and orphans.
Yeah.
And it seemed like a really good idea.
You know, I think I heard about that when I was in Africa.
Oh, you did?
When did you do this? It's
I
like
don't know.
06 or 07 or something.
I think so.
Yeah. Because I remember being in Africa reading something about you riding. I remember telling Jennifer, I think Mark Shultz was riding his bike across the country.
Yeah. And like I say, it was a good idea before I did it. And
Did that hurt?
Yes. And now I realize I'm an idiot for even trying it, but I was out of shape and all that kind of stuff. But then I got in shape. But anyway.
That's hard on your prostate.
You know what? It's a lot hard on a lot of stuff, prostate included.
Yeah.
But
Did you train?
That's
You
one
didn't
that's
train
one item I
before.
hadn't signaled out.
Yeah.
Singled out before now.
Right. So then.
Anyway, we raised $250,000 for widows and orphans.
Awesome.
14 concerts along the way on the bike ride.
Okay.
It was great. So my wife finished her residency
This is 4 years. So she did 4 years.
in North Carolina.
You didn't see her for 4 years.
Not really. I mean, I would see her. She would come home at 8:30 in the morning and eat dinner because she'd been up for 24
Man.
hours.
Oh my
And
gosh.
then she would go to sleep and get up at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon and want breakfast, so she'd eat cereal because her body clock was off. And so I would see her when she kind of looked like it's kind of like right now, like
Yeah.
you're seeing me. And I would drive her to the hospital and drop her off, and then 24 hours later I go pick her up again and bring her back. It was horrible. So we thought, hey, we need to have a break, and after this is over with, so we can kind of see each other. And after 4 years of not seeing each other hardly, now all of a sudden we're in an apartment the size of a stamp, and it's like she's just right there and I'm right there. We don't even know each other. Hey, who are you and why are you in my space? So that was a really, like she used to tell me when we first went over there, hey, why don't you just stand right there until I can get used to you and don't say anything. Just be like a piece of furniture and let me warm up to you being here again. And so I went over on the way back after my first tour, and I picked up these 2 marriage books from the airport, and I took them home as a joke, like, hey, look what I got for us to enjoy while we're over here. And so we would go every morning just down to get a coffee right from our apartment. And one day I took a marriage book with us, and I was like, hey, let's just read a chapter. So we read a chapter, and we were like, oh my gosh, that's good stuff right there. It was a Christian book. And so what we found out is we were learning stuff we never learned our first 4 years of marriage. We were talking about that really. And man, it was awesome. And now we're like a couple 18-year-old kids. You know what I mean? We're just loving being together.
We had that same experience.
Yeah, it's
Same
really
thing. I mean, I think there's something. I think going away. I think God doesn't play favorites, but when two people go away for the sake of getting to know each other better, I think he honors it.
It's awesome. The other thing is, we put all of our stuff in storage before we left, and we went over, and we really do live in an apartment that big, and we haven't missed it at all. And I got to throw some props out to my wife because she is awesome. We packed to go for a year to Europe, and she took a 20-inch roller bag that goes in the overhead of the plane.
She is awesome.
She's unbelievable. So I had to take a 20-inch roller bag because I can't
That's all you took to Europe?
Yeah. And so...
Man, I did not marry that wife.
Yeah.
We moved with 14 bags. We did. We moved with 14 bags. I was psyched to talk to you about the living away thing because you realize how small what we do really is when you go. Because no one knows who you are.
Yeah.
And they don't care.
Right.
I mean, it's not, especially in Europe, they're like, stupid American.
Right.
Yeah.
I think this. Here's my new thought the other day. We went over there just so we could get to know each other again. That's great. What we've learned is in the process,
Do you like each other?
we like each other. The second thing we learned is if we're not doing something to serve people while we're over there, we're not very happy. So that's the other piece. And so when we were in Europe for the first part, we were like, this is great. We're getting to hang out. Everything's cool, but it's kind of empty. And we were trying to figure out what that was. And one night I had to play the piano. I wasn't playing the piano at all. When I was in the first 2 weeks, I was starting to climb the walls. And I told my wife, I'm going to go crazy if I don't find a piano. And so we went walking down the street, and I was frustrated. And she said, is that a church? And we walked in, and there's a 14th century church. And they're having an English service in there for high school, for college kids. And I walked in, I was like, hey, can I play the piano here sometime? Because there's a piano. They said, sure, come back on Tuesday. So I went on Tuesday.
We can pencil you in.
Yeah. So I came back on Tuesday and I'm playing. And then the church service starts again. They're like, hey, you want to play some songs? So I said, sure. So I played 2 or 3 songs. And there's a kid in the front row and he raises his hand and he goes, you playing an awful lot of Mark Shultz songs? And I was like,
What'd you say?
yes, I'm a big fan. I play some of his songs. So anyway, then they knew. So
these are, there was a lot of English speaking.
Oh yeah, they're all college kids. And so after I said, I'm playing them because that's what I, they're like, okay, we thought so. So I started to become like their youth guy at the church. So every Tuesday they'd come in, I'd hug everybody and hang out. We go out for coffees, and
that's cool.
And so I became. This is the cool thing. They had like 4 people come into their English speaking service. So that first time before time, and Kate and I were there for 4 months. And by the time we left, they had 25. So
how did you leave? Oh my God!
Oh, it's so
that
hard.
Would have been hard.
But the thing was, a lot of the kids were coming in for the semester and then leaving. So a lot of them. So now I come back. I do concerts in the States, and I'll run into those kids, or their parents will come to the concerts, and there'll be one guy came up to me. We had a big concert in Milwaukee. And he came up and he said, I want to put a hug on you because he goes, I know you can hug my daughter for me when you go back over there. And that was so cool. And that's what I meant by it feels good to do a role, have a role.
Right.
We bought it, but there's also one of the highlights for us. Man, even though what we were seeing was awesome, it was the people that made it really cool.
Yeah.
And we met Giorgio Amirabile is a Christian singer in Italy. He's like the most well-known, and so we toured while I was over there. We did shows together.
You and he?
Yeah, 2 of us, and that was a highlight. But also we went to his family owns a vineyard, and so I went and helped them out on the vineyard. And his mom and dad, strong believers. They pray before breakfast. They talk about the Bible. So you do that, and you have coffee with them. They're great. And then you go out in the fields, and you're doing the grapes and the whole thing like that. And then after 30 minutes, his dad breaks it down and says, hey, we're gonna have a little sermon time. So he goes out, and for like 20 minutes, he starts giving a sermon about the grapes and the thing in his broken English, broken Italian. And then you're back to work again, and then you eat lunch, and you come back out and you're working a little, hey, we're going to have another break again. And you sit down, and he explains more stuff to you about the Bible through the grapes and stuff. It's great. And then afterwards, at the very end, we picked all these grapes in the big back of the end of this trailer. And I was joking. I was like, hey, can I get up there and stomp those things like olden times? They let me. So I'm up there stomping grapes in my bare feet. It was awesome. All of that to say, the people that we met when we were there really made it. That's what we loved about Spain. That's what we're loving about Europe in general. Is the sincerity of the people. Very sincere and very heartfelt, and so it's been wonderful.
We had that same exact experience. Different culture of people, but the South African people are so relational. I mean, it's just everything stops for. I mean, just a cup of coffee could last 3 hours in the middle of the afternoon. That's okay.
Yeah.
You know, everything just shuts down for anything relationship oriented. And we came back here, and it's not like that here.
Yeah.
I mean, I was really glad to get back, but I had more trouble adjusting to being back here than I did being in Africa. It was odd.
Yeah. We
in 6 months. I mean, you've been away now 8. Is that right?
I think for me 6 months now.
You've been away 6
or 7 months. And
and how much longer do you think you'll stay?
For sure through June, but I'm here for a month touring.
Okay, right. This is the instrumental record.
Yeah. I got an instrumental record.
That's
called
cool.
Renaissance.
Who buys those?
My family. And they make great stocking stuffers.
I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah, it's really cool. We recorded over in Florence.
Okay.
Matter of fact, this is again the people. This is why they're so great. There was a friend of ours. She's over there that we met. She's with Agape, and she does the ministry to college students and Italians over there.
Yeah.
She is awesome. Her name's Sarah. I said, hey, we would love to record this record in Florence. And she's like, well, I think the people I rent from, they have a little villa up the street, and they have a piano up there, and maybe you want to do it up there. I said, okay. So we went up there to take a look. Do you remember this song back in the 80s? Gloria, I think I got your number.
Yeah.
Well, the guy who wrote that, it's his place.
Oh my God.
He's got a studio, and it's a villa and the whole thing. Now they took all the studio equipment out, but they just have a piano in there. So Brian Lennox from Nashville.
Bubba Brian?
Yeah, Brian. Great dude. He came and we recorded there, brought stuff back, and then and so it was literally recorded in Florence. And on my thank you notes, it's got all the places, all the people to thank from. It's really great.
So cool
Real experience.
Well, man, I can't wait to hear more of how this whole thing turns out for you. It's so fun to come visit you over there.
Oh, totally.
Well, I mean, if we're out of our house any longer, Jennifer's just going to pick up and move.
I mean, pull her hair out and then move over.
She's like, she's like, look, maybe God's given us this time to go do something. So,
yeah,
man, thanks for coming on my show.
Man, thanks for having me.
But coffee.
Thanks for having me. Get up at 5:30 and drive over here.
No, I'm glad you came. Thanks.